There we go. Welcome
I think
back
we're
to the
live.
pod, Jim. We're live.
Let's go. This
How are
one's gonna
you?
be a banger. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing, man. Let's dive straight in. We got a lot to talk about, don't we?
Oof. Yeah, this week has been hectic. It's
It's
gonna
been
be a lot
a,
of things. It's been a
a
good
fun
week.
week. Do you want
Been
to start off
amazing.
with your updates?
Absolutely. So from last week, we set a couple of goals. The updates are this. I got banned from Facebook early, early this week. I got banned from Facebook, and as you know, we run marketing companies, and Facebook is our entire business. So I got banned, and it took me about 4 days to get my account back. Got it back yesterday, and yeah, that's been the biggest update. Banned, all of it disappeared, no ads. We got billed, but we didn't get a single lead. So the ads were up and running, but when I looked back, they hadn't spent anything. So all of our ads just shut off, which is not good. Second update is we signed a huge client, a really, really big client covering 3 states, more than 2,000 zip codes, 40 sales reps, 20 call center agents. Huge company. So that is good. I feel like we have really, really good momentum. And the last update is something that I want to touch on is we need to get the B2B ads live. This kind of goes back into me being
Yes.
banned from Facebook, but then also ultimately I could have created a new account in 20 minutes and just gotten them live just to get them live, but we haven't. And so that's something we want to touch on, but that's just the updates from last week. Ban on Facebook, huge client signed. That's pretty much it. Edwin, what do you got? What's your update?
Hell yeah. So on the personal side, this week was the week where my girlfriend, who lives in Colombia, aka my EA too,
Ooh.
left the country. So she's been in Sweden for a month with me. And on Friday she left. So I would say the first 3 days, like oh no, we're talking like the Tuesday, the Wednesday, the Thursday, and the Friday. I spent a lot of time with her, both to say goodbye, but she wanted to spend some time with my family. And obviously I gotta be there then. And I left her in Stockholm. We spent 2 days there, showed her the city. So there, that's not an excuse, but because of that, I took the conscious decision to be less focused on the business the first half of the week. So didn't get as much done as I probably should have and could have if I had accounted for it better. Now, the second half of the week, I'm really happy about. I kind of made up for it now on Saturday and Sunday. So a few of the things that happened. I signed a absolutely great pay per lead partner. This is somebody who we're starting off with 5 leads a day, but they're basically a partner in 8 remodeling companies in 8 different states. And I think they're in total doing like $3 million a week. He speaks about weekly revenue, which is funny. And if we crush it for his first New York market, which is like 5 million people, then he'll move us into Texas, California, Florida, New Jersey, and so on. So huge win there. Just like Jim, one big pay per lead partner. Then I also lost my best media buyer. So he was basically the lifeblood of our whole media buying and marketing department the whole last year until about December, where he came to me and said that he has gotten like chronic depression and he needed like a month to just fully switch off. So he got a month where he didn't work, we didn't talk and so on. And then he was supposed to come back on about now. So we had a call and he decided to actually go into consulting. And I completely respect his decision. He thinks that he's capable of more than just being a media buyer. And I sold this guy hard on joining. I prepared a 3-page document of what the vision of the company is, how he's going to get profit bonuses as the company scale and stuff. But he was destined or determined on his destiny, and he did not see it being a fit. So that's completely fine, but big events. So we're going to need a killer media buyer this year.
Nice.
Next, I finally, and this is so thanks to Jim too for pushing me to go all in. I finally got great profit on our paper lead partners and starting to crack it for all of our paper appointment ones too, where we
Let's
switched all of our ads from the
go.
old concept to the new concept. So without going too
Nice.
into the nitty gritty, basically we used to run low quality ads. Now we run high quality ads using AI. We get way better results. And this was the first week of pure, really high profit where we were above a 30% profit margin, which doesn't sound super high, but when you charge per lead, it's a good feeling to actually make money on it. And then
Let's go. That's a
quickly,
huge win, man.
yeah, huge win. And we're now having a machine that actually pumps content on itself, which is great, knowing that that's being taken care of. I also started finally calling a bunch of leads and focusing on sales this week, and we're launching the B2B ads today. So that's the
Whew.
update. The goals,
Momentum.
yes, the goals that, since last week when we spoke was have the B2B ads live. We're gonna have them live by the end of today. This is the last day of the week. We're Swedish fuckers. We're not in the US, so the week isn't over yet for us. Secondly, we wanted to do 10 hours of live calling leads this week. I did not do 10 because what I spoke about before, I didn't account for being off for the first half of the week. So I only did 5 hours, something I should have done better. And then get profitable on pay per lead. Hell fucking yeah.
Let's
That's
go.
the update,
Boom.
bro.
Yeah, I think we had roughly the same. Getting the B2B ads live. The excuse that is not an excuse was that I got banned from Facebook and all my ad accounts were shut down. I could have just created a new account, opened up a new portfolio, gotten them live, and then when I had the account back, I could have just moved over the campaign, but I didn't do that. That is going live today, though. They will be live. We have people right now in the other breakout room in this Zoom creating a shit ton of ads, so that it's going to be live. 10 hours of calling. I haven't tracked it, but I guarantee that I have done more than 10 hours. I've had it probably. I hope so. I look at my how many times I've called the leads that we have in my pipeline. I've also sent a lot of like emails and SMS to people, really good leads that we already have in my pipeline. So I think I've actually done more than 10. Next week, I'm definitely gonna track it just to make sure. But I have been consistent with that every day. Cool. Also,
Respect.
if you're new to this, and you're wondering what I'm wearing here, I got a broken arm or a broken collarbone right now, so I'm locked in. The only thing I can do is really work, and if I go on a walk, it hurts. So I'm just working. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Welcome to this episode. We're gonna cover a lot of things today.
Hell
That's
yeah.
pretty much it. Do you want to go into some problems we're facing, or no? Actually, learning top of mind. What have you learned
Yeah.
this week? What's top of mind for you? That's gonna be good, I think. What do you want to
Yeah.
cover?
We'll do one each because I got quite a few this week.
Hmm.
And we have enough for them for us to have to go really fast. So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna run through some. First of all, one really small thing that I've started doing. If you have never heard about this, I urge you to go on it right away and try this out. There's this one page long document. I don't think you've heard about this either, Jim. It's called The Day I Became a Better Writer. And it is a one-page document on how to do good writing. And I heard about it in Naval Ravikant's book. It's not written by him, but it's about him. And he talks about how that one-page document really helped him become a better writer. And he literally just talks about how to write, and he touches on like every important principle in one document. That one is something that every time I write a long text, whether it's a ad copy or just writing a bunch of ads or making a landing page, I just reread that because he goes over every single principle. It's really easy to understand. It takes 2 minutes to go through. So
What was the name
the
of that?
day I became a better writer, or sorry, the day I became a better reader is what it's called.
Hmm.
No, it's called writer. It's called the day I became a better writer. If you haven't heard about that, check it out. You can find it on Google. Just search it up.
Sick. Nice.
What's your first top of mind thing this week?
Yeah, my top of mind thing was I need to build a brand. The long-term play is to build a brand for your company because at any time your entire business can be shut down by Facebook banning you. I didn't even do anything wrong. Facebook just shut down my account. And if I have a $5 million per month business relying on one account, I'm screwed. And so the brand is the only thing that someone can't take away from you. So long-term play, it just kind of, I already knew this because we have already spoken about this, Edvin, but it really hit me that I'm powerless. People, like another company can just take down my business in one day. And so multiple sources in the future about getting leads, focusing on the brand because the brand will never stop. And that is the one thing that we will always just keep growing. So that's my first part. Um,
That is a great one. Can I touch on that again?
yeah.
When I think about where, and I'd love for you guys to do this too. Like when I think about where I spend my money, I think about it and I'm like, okay, I go on my bank and I look at what's my last transactions. And I bought a supplement from my favorite podcaster promoting it. I bought a new phone from iPhone because I know iPhone has the best iPhone out there because of their brand. I paid money to basically coaching program because of the fact that I knew about his brand and I knew he was trustable. I spent money on a basically like a new phone case for a specific brand that my friend was using. And I thought about it and I was like, the last time I spent money on something because of an ad was like 3 months ago. The last time I spent
Mm,
money because of me knowing about a brand, because I've heard things about it or that brand is in my head was like every single day. So think about what percentage of the advertising dollars that people spend are because of ads versus being spent because of how we advertise our brand and how we build trust and so on. And it's
Mm,
way more because of our brands. So build it. Even though you don't
100%.
think that it's there, the big companies see it more than anybody.
Yeah. And I would say it depends on what kind of company you want to run. If you want to run 100K per month profit and be good with that, you're probably not going to build a brand. But if you want to scale and, build a company that's worth more than 100 million, yeah, it's just
100%.
self-explanatory. You will need it. One thing that I would like to add on the brand part as well is I just blanked my mind.
You're good. Let's move on to the
Wait,
next one. Bring it up if you remember it, okay?
okay. Give me a couple of seconds and I'll remember it. I'll cut you off
Sure.
if I remember it.
So the next point that I want to touch on is it kind of came in the last hour because my talk with my media buyer actually was right before this. So that's really top of mind. Something I just took, I did a 5 minute meditation and reflected over this. The importance of team satisfaction. My dad is a bit of an entrepreneur. He's not super serious about entrepreneurship, but he does some. And one thing that I actually learned from him in entrepreneurship is that the two most important metrics for a business to succeed, I've never heard it anywhere elsewhere, only from him. The two most important metrics for a business to succeed is customer satisfaction and team satisfaction. He said if both of those are good enough, everything else takes care of itself. Your customers need to be happy, your team needs to be happy. And he said that probably 2 years ago when I first started my business, when I hired my first team member. And I've never thought about it until today, where I was like, holy shit, that's so true. If you can just make your customers love you and if you can make your team love you, it changes everything. And not just you, but
Mm,
what they do, what they buy from you, and so on.
that is
And
so important.
yeah, when I think
Yeah.
about it, it's the reason I work so hard is because I love what I do. And whenever I realize, okay, I haven't worked that well this month or this week, I reflect over why didn't I work? And it's the same thing every time. I had something else I'd rather do. I did not enjoy the work more than what I did instead of the work. If you're getting stuck on social media, it's because you enjoy social media more than the work you do. It's the same with your team members. They're gonna work the minimum required to not get fired if they don't enjoy their work. But if they love their work and there's nothing else they'd rather do, they're gonna work all day and they're not going to leave and they're going to get a higher paying offer. They're going to get a offer working less, making the same amount. They're going to get a offer that makes more sense to them, but they're not going to leave your company if your team members love the work they do and they love the company. So team
Mm,
satisfaction is key. I haven't done enough on that one. I just
I like
assume that
that.
if they do output, they're good. But last week on Monday was the first time where we did a game as a team. I got this idea from a friend where we just did a game where I'm trying to remember what game we did. Oh yeah, we did basically. Oh yeah, what two truths, one lie. I don't know why I blanked on it, but two truths, one lie. Everybody on the
Really?
team went, and then we got a point every time we guessed the right on somebody else's lie, right? And it was so fun. It took like 45 minutes with the team. Everybody really enjoyed it, and I saw more Slack activity the day after. And it was the first time I haven't been consistent with using our mindset channel on Slack, but it was the first time somebody posted on that channel for like 2 months right after we had that exercise. And I think we're gonna start doing something like that every week. And this year, I want to do in-person meetups. I want to make sure that I start getting to know my team members on a deeper level so that they can get a better offer somewhere else, but they stay because they love what they do.
An office. Oof. Having an office with the team there is, we're gonna get there. That is
Yeah,
like the
in
best thing
Marbella.
for culture. Oof, in Marbella, that would be sick. Um, yeah, I mean, just having an office with the team would help with the culture so much. I think people hear this all the time, like culture is everything. You got to build your culture, but they don't imagine, they don't get how important it is. I have a team
Yeah.
member on my team right now, who he ran or he runs his own company. I think he was doing like, oh, I can't remember. I might say something wrong now, but I think he was doing about 30K per month. And he wants to join me as a marketing director because he sees the vision. Even though he would take a pay cut in the beginning, he wants to join just because he sees the vision and that he would love working with us. One thing that I would like to say as well, going back to the brand, I remember what I was about to say. The goal with building the brand is to become the trusted source for homeowners when they want to renovate or do anything in their home. They reach out to our brand because they know that we are the most trustable. That's the brand we want to have on the B2C side. I think the B2C side helps way more than the B2B side, because the B2B side we can push. I mean, of course it helps. We will also have a brand B2B. Those two kind of go hand in hand. But when I'm thinking about the brand, I'm thinking the B2C side, because that is 100% pure profit. When people reach out to us because they know our brand, profit, just straight profit, no ad spend. But yeah, going back to the culture, having an in-home office. And I think what we're doing right now with like open
In-person
office
office, you
hours on,
mean?
sorry, I have no idea
In
what I said,
home,
but
that's
in-home.
scary.
Yeah, like an in-person office. That's what we need. Um, Also, the last thing I wanted to touch on that was, as we're doing today, we're having how long is this call? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
10.
10 hour long work session where our teams join in and we have an open office on Zoom. Everyone's working together and we're getting shit done on a Sunday. From what I've seen, I think they love it. I really
Yeah,
enjoy it. I enjoy working like when everyone's there. It's
in a
it's
group.
awesome.
It's
It's
the
really nice. Yeah.
closest you can get to a in-person office possible. If you are in the earlier stages of your company where you have between, I'd say, 1 and 3 team members, try either making a Discord channel or making a Zoom. A huddle is something else. For some reason, a huddle doesn't feel as good. So it
Yeah.
needs to be either a Zoom or a Discord channel where everybody just joins in. They keep their cameras on, but they keep their microphones muted, and then everybody just works together. And
Mm.
then if you have a problem, then you can just unmute and ask. If there's multiple people in the room, you can just huddle each other on Slack to not disturb the person who's working or the people who's working. But that's the closest you can get to an in-person office. And it makes work more fun. It makes it less likely for people to get distracted. And I even see this on myself. You don't want to pick up your phone and check something because you're like, everybody's gonna see me being on my phone.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go to eat for too long because then everybody's gonna see that you're away. You're not gonna clock off until you've gotten that done, and then you can also set a team goal. Today,
Mm.
me and Jim both have our team members kind of working together because we need marketing done together and we're running the same kind of ads. So Jim's executive assistant, my executive assistant, and our head of ad creative guy are all in a room, and they're not leaving that call until we have 15 ads made that are brand new from scratch. And they all take quite a bit of time. I'd say they take an hour each. So like that's 15 hours of work that needs to get done before they leave. And when we hit that, everybody's going to be sharing together and proud together. So it's the closest you can get to an in-person office.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying, and I think if you're watching this video and you have a team, even if you just have one person,
Yeah.
being on a
Even
call
more
and
important than, yeah.
yeah, even more important, if you just have a VA, if you just have a media buyer, if you just have one person on your team, join a call, set the agenda. Here's what we're getting done. You mute yourselves, you work, and then you just get things done and you don't leave that call until it's done. It's like Alex Hermosi talks about. I think we touched on this last week as well, how you do your team calls and how Alex Hermosi does it. They set a goal, they get that done, and then they go to the next part and they just do that and they just get shit done. And the feeling after is so good as well.
I
So
actually realized
yeah.
we spoke about that last week too, but we talked about you and me doing it. Now we're
Mm,
talking about us doing it with our team because what me and Jim realized is we like doing it together and we get more productive together. Doing it with your team is next level. So
yeah.
definitely recommend it. If you don't have a team, do it with your friend who
Yeah.
also runs a business. It works. And the only thing you got to stop yourself from is just if it's with a friend, it's yapping about stuff that's not work related because it easily happens. But as long as both of you guys are there to win, then that's not going to be a problem. You just call
100%.
yourself out on it.
Nice. Okay, I have another point, which is, and I already know this, but for some reason I don't do it, and it's just so small things uh, that you always have to remind yourself on, and that is don't compromise with the biggest companies. Just because you're speaking with a big company, follow the sales process. You've built a sales process because you're gonna use it. And a very easy trap to fall into is just because you work with, or just because you're speaking with a huge company, you just throw the sales process out the window because you feel like you have a better chance of closing them. But in reality, that's not the case and it will bite you in the ass. So, the huge client that I signed, we have a couple of things that just because I didn't follow the sales process, I'm kind of behind a little bit. So what happened was we signed their agreement instead of them signing our agreement. When they want to have specific things in the agreement, instead of us signing theirs, I would rather just make our agreement say everything that they would like. And instead of compromising with them, it's a normal sales process. if they want to do a different type of strategy, a different type of payment structure, instead of just going with that because they're a big company, I should ask them what's the reason behind that, and then solve that constraint or solve that objection, and then re-ask again. I shouldn't just, oh yeah, let's do it just because they're a big company, because those things will bite me in the ass bigger and even more just because they are a big company. And I feel like that is something that I have to kind of, I've learned that so many times, but now I've just put it into perspective. Like if I'd had this client on my exact terms, it would have been way easier, way better, way more like just comfortable, because you already know that we're profitable. But now we have to do something that's a little bit different, and we have to create custom systems and stuff. And so and so that is just one thing, that don't compromise with the biggest companies just because they're big. If you're 100% sure that you are going to lose them, and you're in the early stages like I am with the paper lead right now, I would do it just to get them over the line and learn as much as you can, because that is more worth it than not having them at all. But you should still do everything that you can to follow your own sales process and set them up the right way. That is one big learning lesson for me. I don't know if you have anything to touch on that.
I 100% agree with that one. And I would also add a caveat on that, which is it's the same thing for when you get a deal that is a bit unique. So like you get a referral from somebody and you're like, oh, it's a referral. I don't need to follow my sales process. It's written for cold leads that come from ads. Yeah, just because they're more warm doesn't mean that you need less sales. That means you should sell them more because they're more warm, they're more receptive.
Yeah.
There's so many people who are lost because you don't follow your process because you think they're special. If they're already a referral, doesn't matter. Follow the same process. If they're huge, doesn't matter. Follow the same process. If you've already worked with that guy on a different company in the past, or you've already worked with him and he's coming back for a new offer, doesn't matter. Follow the same process.
Yeah.
If you have already spoken to this guy and he said no, doesn't matter. Follow the same process. Always follow the same process with the sales script, with the agreement, with the price. The price is a big one. It's so easy to change your price. All of it. Always follow the same process, or change your process. But don't change your process for that one guy because you feel different. That means you need to either get your balls together and don't skip the process, or you gotta change the process altogether if it doesn't fit.
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% agree. That's been one big learning for me. First one is the brand, because I got banned. Second thing is don't compromise for the biggest company. Follow your own process. Put everything in our agreement and not theirs. If they have specific things and it does make sense to add them, then add it into our agreement. Because they can have like a 30-page document with a bunch of things about their brand, a bunch of things about this, which is fine, but those specific things needs to go into our agreement just so we have the control. That's just kind of a big learning lesson. Yeah,
Hell
that's
yeah.
pretty much it.
That's a really small one, but valuable. Most people don't speak about those kind of small things.
Yeah.
Can I share one?
Yeah, 100%.
Things in most companies are done way slower than they should be, and sometimes something can get done in 4 hours, but it takes 4 days. And I've really seen this with you, Jim. So shout out to you. This is something you've reminded me a lot about. Me and Jim had, this goes into my next point too, but me and Jim had a really interesting conversation about, I think it was Thursday. The time I scaled to 500K a month with a different business partner, we were going after $1 billion in 12 months. We tried to fucking build the world's fastest growing company. And we went up like away from every law of business that everybody knows about. And we did what everybody said was impossible. And at least we went for it. And we did accomplish quite a bit. We went from 50K a month to 500K a month in 4 months. And from 100K a month to 500K a month in 2 months. So we really did do a lot that I've never seen anybody else do before that or after that. But then when I look back on what we did differently, there were a few main things, but one of them, I'll share two. But the first one was that we operated with such speed, and most people don't follow that speed. But me and Jim spoke about it, and it's like if you need new ads to launch your B2B ads, hop on a call with everybody who's involved and say, we're not hopping off until we have 15 B2B ads live with this exact format. And then don't compromise. And then make the person share their screen and show the ads, and you give them feedback and you make them change the ads immediately, rather than you telling them to do it and then they do it the next day, and then you review it the day after that, and then they change it the day after that, you review it again the day after that, and then it's live. That takes 5 days rather than 5 hours. So move with fucking speed. And if you think you should travel to a specific place to meet somebody and that's going to help you progress faster, book the flight for tonight. If you think you need to call more leads to hit your goal, and that's your constraint, call the leads immediately. If you see a problem with your fucking pixel, then fix that problem and don't do anything else until that's fixed.
100%.
And I just think it's so easy to just pussy around with it. It's like I was gonna call leads. Me and Jim had not an argument, but we disagreed here, and I thought it was really interesting. We were both about to call leads, and I was like, okay, let me write the script first. And then Jim was like, no, fuck writing a script, just call. And my argument was, no, if you spend 30 minutes writing a script, and that makes you 30% more productive on 10 hours of calling, you spend 30 minutes to get 3 hours back. Jim said, fuck that. Let's just call another 30 minutes and we'll book an extra appointment from that. And I'm not saying there's one right answer. I think there's points in both arguments, but I like the framework of don't do the pussy work. Sorry for being so explicit, by the way. Don't do the pussy work around something. Just do the fucking problem and get it done. And it usually can get done before end of day. Most things in business can get done before end of day, no matter what it is. Do it before the end of the day, not end of week, not end of month, end of the day.
Yeah, push. There's a big perspective on this. Imagine if Elon Musk, imagine how much Elon Musk gets done every single day. And we are here like, oh, we need to create 15 ads and we need to create a new campaign and that's it. Like this guy, he's like, let's create 10 new companies today. Let's take over. Like it's insane. You just got to get some perspective on how much you can actually get done in 24 hours. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, you can get done way more than what you think. But now the important thing is you have to actually get done what matters. You can't just sit there and create a logo, create a new website, send some updates in Slack, go through Slack messages. You actually have to do the things that matter. Like the things that are actually important. But that is such an important thing. Every single time you speak with someone, and every single time I speak with someone that is like they're having a smaller company, they're always focusing on the wrong thing. It's like they're sitting creating ads or doing something or creating something like a landing page or updating something. But in reality, the only thing that matters is just signing more clients. That's the only thing that matters, nothing else. And it's just so easy to do the wrong thing. So just make sure that you stay on track. The constraint is the
Sign
only
more
thing
clients or make them worth more. There's nothing else to business.
Yeah,
Everything you do
that's
should
it.
direct to one of them.
Yeah. I mean, we
Now,
don't have a website. That's not what we
right.
kind of do, but not for B2B.
Right. I was gonna add a point on that. I'm probably gonna do a test next week, putting either 3 days or the entire week, putting my whole team in a Zoom. I'm probably gonna try it out,
Mm.
having my partner success manager in one room. Whether we do a huddle or a Discord or a Zoom, I'll figure out. But like putting my partner success manager in one, putting my tech person in one, putting all my ISA together in one, putting my executive assistant in one, and then my executive assistant is always in the same room as me, so she can always ask me questions. Then anybody can join my room if they have any questions immediately. And then by the beginning of the day, everybody's 100% aligned on what to do. And then we just continue crushing on everything until we have absolutely everything done. And that's how you
Mm.
can ensure that not just you, but your entire team is working on the right thing. We used to
Yeah.
do that, exactly that, until we were 8 people, but then we scaled up to like 50 people and we couldn't keep doing it. I'll probably get back to that now that we're below 8 people again.
100%. Especially when you're like a smaller company. I would say
Yeah.
anything below like 20, 30 team members, you can get things done so fast. You can change the plans so fast. It's like the bigger your company gets, the bigger the boat. To change the direction of like a small, what's the word for it? Like a kayak? Is that the right
Yeah,
word? It,
exactly.
it
Or a
it's
jet
so
ski.
easy. Yeah, jet ski, you just flip it around and you're already done. But when you
And the
run
Titanic is like fucking 2
exactly.
months.
Yeah, and that's I think people don't realize how small their companies is or their companies are. You can literally change approaches and get things done so fast. It doesn't have to go through, be approved by multiple stages, by departments. It is literally you have like if you have 0 to 15 team members, you just jump on a Zoom with the people required, you get things done, and then that's pretty much it.
Hell yeah. Speed is probably the theme of the week, huh?
It is. We gotta
Hell
act
yeah.
more with speed. I don't know why I didn't create as soon as I got banned, I should have created a new Facebook and just launched new ads. I don't know why I didn't do that. That is something that in the future, if you spot it on me, Edwin, and I'm procrastinating something, I wouldn't say like procrastinating it, but literally the only thing that matters in our business is how many leads we're getting. That is literally the only thing. and I wasn't getting any leads. And so me creating a new Facebook, I thought it wasn't worth it because I'm gonna get my old account back. But that is literally the most important thing, and it's so worth it. Even if it takes me 5 hours, it's still worth it because that's the only thing in the business that actually matters. So if you spot that on me, just remind me of this conversation. I have to go in and watch this again and listen to myself, and yeah,
Hell yeah, will do.
get,
Do you have any other top of mind before I share my last one?
no, that's all of mine.
Perfect. Then I'll share my last one. So I was talking about when I scaled really fast in the past. This was around April last year that we were at our peak scale. April last year we had 500K, and it wasn't any profit in that, but there was still a lot of revenue. And revenue says one thing, profit says another thing. Profit says you know how to operate a business. Revenue says you know how to get customers, and know how to get those customers to pay you a lot. And I think that's two different things. So having high profit and having high revenue is not always the same thing. And we definitely figured out how to get high revenue, but just not high profit. So focusing on why we got such high revenue, one of the things was definitely the speed. We just talked about it. The other thing I think that I did incredibly well back then that I've kind of lost is thinking way too small. We literally operated in the mindset of trying to get to $1 billion in not valuation, but in revenue in 12 months. It's never been done before, ever. No company has ever gotten to 12 in 12 months to $1 billion in revenue. A bunch of them have gotten there in valuation, but nobody has in revenue. And we wanted to be the first to do it. Were we on track to hit it? Fuck no. But we made so much more progress than we would have if we didn't go for that goal. And there's this framework from Elon Musk, and I don't have time to go over it in depth, but basically it's take a super grandiose 10-year vision that you really would be proud if you achieved over the next decade. And then ask yourself, what would it take to do this in 1 year? If I dedicated my life to this, what would I do if I needed to hit this in 1 year or my whole family dies? Ask yourself that question. And then when you have written everything out and you've really thought about every single thing, you ask yourself, based on the laws of nature, is it possible to hit this in 1 year? Not if you think you can hit it, but is it possible if I do everything above? And when that is a yes, you ask yourself, if you commit fully and do what you outlined, would you hit that goal? And if the answer is yes, then the question is, do you think it would be worth it if you sacrifice that year to hit that goal? If the answer is still yes on all the above, then you just go for the goal. And we did that exercise, and our answer was $1 billion in 12 months because we were gonna set a 10-year goal on it, and then we were like, why don't we do it in 3 years? Why don't we do it in 1 year? And that's how we scaled so fast. So I'm gonna go back to thinking way bigger and not thinking about, oh, how can I sign a client next week? But how can I build a system that signs 100 clients a week? And that's a fine balance. That's something you gotta balance between thinking in the vague that doesn't really exist today and not making anything happen for today, but also not thinking small and only working for today, not building systems that scale.
Yeah.
And I think we had a conversation last time too. You're better at getting stuff done in the short term and actually making stuff happen. I'm better at building systems for scale and getting leverage at output. So that's something we both can get better at and finding that balance. But definitely really important to think big and try to hit a
100%.
10-year goal in 1 year.
And if you want to hear more about this, there's a video with the guy that followed Elon Musk around for a year and the Diary of the CEO
For 7 years.
for 7 years. Holy shit. Okay, what's the name of that guy again? Isaacson?
Search for Walter Isaacson with the Diary of the CEO, and
That's
you're
the
gonna
one.
find it. And basically, yeah, they talk about Elon Musk and Steve Jobs. This guy is the only guy on earth who's ever followed Elon Musk for 7 years and Steve Jobs for like 5. And he talks about everything that he learned from the two best businessmen on earth.
Yeah. So super valuable video. Watch that and you'll hear more about it.
Have you
Cool.
gotten a chance to see the full thing yet?
I've watched almost all of it, 75%. I had to go
And
sleep.
what do you think?
So far it's really good. It is really good.
Yeah.
They operate in such a as you said, it's not about, oh, has this been done before? It's like within the laws of physics, like within the laws of nature, is this goal possible? If yes, they just go for it. And that is thinking big. They're thinking way bigger, and it's more like, is this possible? Yes, then they go for it if it's worth it. And yeah, I think that's a really good
Hell yeah.
thing to implement. Cool.
Definitely.
Do we want to go into
I
problems we're
wanna
facing?
I just want to add one thing on this. Hormozi made a video. I haven't looked for it yet, but he makes a video of the different levels of winning, and he's like the lowest tier of winning is you see everybody around you having achieved something, and then you're like, I think I'm the one special snowflake, so I'm really gonna try to not achieve this. Everybody else managed to get a job. I think I'm the special snowflake who can't get a job. And then the medium is like, okay, is the majority of people achieving this? Okay, then I think it might be realistic for me as long as nothing goes wrong. That's like most people. Then the second highest tier of winning is there a single person who's done this in the past? And you did this. We talked about it. You did this week where
Yeah.
you're like, has anybody ever done this before? I only need one person to have done it to show me that it's possible. And as soon as that's the case, I'll be the next one. I don't care if it's normal as long as I've seen somebody do it. And very few people are truly there. It's like 1 in a billion that thinks that way. But then the absolute highest level is what Elon Musk and Steve Jobs was operating at, which is
Yeah.
the highest level of winning, which is I don't care if anybody else has done it. I don't care about anybody else. The question is it physically possible? Based on the laws of nature, while gravity exists, while time goes by, can I hit this? Or is there anything physically that stops me? And I don't care how hard it is, if it's physically possible, I'll make it happen. And that's where I want to get to.
Mm. Yeah, I remember that moment. I'm gonna try more to think like that because it is definitely needed. If you want to become one of the, or if you want to build one of the biggest companies in the world, you definitely have to think like that. And even if you don't, then I think that mindset is better and it serves you more than the other ones.
Hell yeah. I'll say a quote on this. To build something that's never been built before, you have to be willing to build something that's never been built before. And it sounds so obvious, but most people think, oh, this never been done. There must be a reason for that. It's probably not realistic. No, it's not fucking realistic. Neither is building fucking Amazon or building Tesla and SpaceX at the same time. So
Yeah.
if you want to make some
Building
big stuff happen,
self-landing rockets.
right? In fucking 5 years. It's crazy. And this doesn't go for the people who are just trying to make 10K a month online. Then follow what works, follow what can be taught in a YouTube video. But if you want to make the world change, that's who we're speaking with.
100%. Cool. Do you want to go into problems we're facing right now?
Yes. Go for it, brother.
Nice. Cool. We are still struggling with cash flow. It's gotten way better. Way better. We're so close to finally being like, yeah, we can just spend, which I've been wanting to do. The goal is to get up to about $1,000 per day in ad spend as fast as we humanly can. Once we're there, I mean, yeah, that's really the main goal for me at the moment. I don't know about you, Edwin, but I think we spoke about that earlier. Cash flow is stopping me. If I had more cash flow right now, we would scale way faster. So the question that I typically ask myself, this comes from Alex Ramosi, but it's like, what stops us from 10xing? And then what stops us from doing that? And so for me, it was just we need more clients. What stops us from getting more clients? We need to increase our ad spend. What stops us from doing that? Well, we need more cash flow, so we can do that. Same thing also B2C. I mean, we need to ramp up our B2C spend, but we don't have that big of we don't have that much room to go from and ramp that up to 1,000 a day either. We cannot do that right now because of our cash flow. And another problem that we're facing is just B2B ads are not live, and winning ads for bathrooms and showers is actually something I've written down. But the main part and the biggest one is cash flow. And so I think I said the same thing last week. And having the same problem 2 weeks in a row is not good. Cash flow is a very annoying problem to have because it's very character building. I said this to a good friend of mine as well on WhatsApp. He might come on pretty soon. Who knows? Yeah, we'll speak on that later. But cash flow is very annoying to have. It takes time to build up. But I've had cash flow issues for a long time now, and I haven't solved it. And so I really need for next week to pull all of the strings that I can to be able to get better cash flow. And so it is upselling existing clients, it is increasing spend when we're profitable, because we are that right now. We just got back our Facebook, so we should be all good. It is also just ramping up the production from everything. We need to solve the cash flow issue. Like, I need to be able to get to that point where we're spending 1K per day on B2B ads, because if we don't, it's gonna limit us. I definitely need to solve the cash flow constraint. And that's the problem I'm facing. Cash flow is the most annoying problem to have. because you have to pull levers and strings that you never want to do, but it's also very character building. And I think if I didn't go through this season now with very tight cash flow, I would be a different person. So I'm also kind of grateful for it. But yeah, I think we're this far away from solving it. What about
100%.
you, Edvin?
No, I agree with everything you said there. I think one thing I do want to point out, just something that's challenge you on what you said, is when you
Go
have
for it.
client finance acquisition, and in case anybody doesn't know what that means, that's basically when you make more from a customer in the first 30 days than when it costs you to get them. So like if you can get a customer for $1,000, but they pay you 2,000, then for every customer you get, you can afford to pay for two more. If you have that, cash flow will never be a constraint as long
Yeah.
as you don't spend it on other shit, right? Because then you'll always be able to afford to get more customers on themselves, right? So that's something that we gotta crack. And I
We
think we can
need to
crack
get
that.
there. Yeah.
We just haven't been able to put in the work, or we haven't put in the work. We've been able to, but we haven't put in the work to solve that, which is making killer B2B ads, calling the leads that actually come in, and following a proper sales process. If we do those three for the next month, I know for a fact that we're gonna have client finance acquisition. There's no way that we
Yeah.
don't. And that's when we've solved that problem that we're facing right now of cash flow. So I agree. My cash flow is it's not, I wouldn't say it's a constraint. It's not a problem I'm facing because I got okay cash flow, but it's definitely not where I want to be, where I feel abundant. It's not like, oh, a 10K a coaching program that's gonna have me scale. Let me buy it right away. It's still at a point where I need to kind of budget for things. Like still need to look at the cash balance daily and make sure that it's fine. And I don't want to be there. I want to be at a place where I know that cash is not something I'm optimizing for. I'm optimizing for profit. And cash and profit isn't always the same thing. So definitely something I can do better. And it's gonna come from being more profitable overall for me and just getting more clients with the B2B ads profitably. So
Mm.
it's about not being afraid there, not staying where you're at, where you're profiting $1,000 a day, but like scaling to, okay, let's make sure we're spending all of our profit on B2B ads so that we can make double tomorrow. And
Mm.
then take that double and spend it so we can make 4 times and 8 times and 16 times. So I agree with that. Now, I would say for myself, right now, I would say that we don't have a bunch of problems. We more so have, or I'm speaking for myself, I more so have things to do than problems that I'm facing. So for me, it's like sometimes you're like, I'm stuck, I'm trying to figure out how to solve X. And sometimes it's, I don't have anything that's limiting me. It's just about doing more of X, Y, and Z. And I feel like that's where I'm at, where I just need to do more of my B2B ads that we're launching today. I need to call more leads and I need to spend more on my current partners. If I do those three, we're gonna make more money. So it's about, you know, acting with speed like we talked about and making sure that all those three things get done ASAP.
Mm. Nice. Yeah. And that's easy. That takes you like 20 minutes. We have
Hell
all of
yeah.
the B2B ads on the way. So that's 15 videos, but also all of the picture ads. I mean, we're gonna have,
Yeah.
by the way, we're gonna have
By
more than
by
15
end of today,
ads.
we're yeah, I just calculated it. We're gonna have 50 ads by end of today. Instead of
Yeah.
15, it's gonna end up being 50.
50. Yeah. We credited a bit more, but rather more than, yeah, rather more. I think, yeah, I don't really have
Sick, man.
anything to challenge you on that specifically. I think you just need to go into the ads manager and just add a zero. Like if you
Yeah.
can, just add another zero in there and just make sure that you have enough ads to keep the cost per lead low.
100%, yeah. I'm at the point where we're maxed out with all of our partners except one. Except two. One isn't profitable,
Really?
so we gotta crack profitability on one. And then on the other one, we are not maxed out, but we're scaling him by 10% a day or her. So that one we're scaling by 10% a day as much as
Skill.
we can. We've been doing for the last 3 days, and we just need to continue doing it. But I
That's
100%
awesome.
agree that it needs to be the same thing on B2B ads. There's
Yeah.
no reason for us not to do that. And the
Yeah.
next week when we're talking, we got to make sure that we actually call the leads that came in. And we didn't just call them once or twice, but
100%.
we call them 3 times a
Three
day,
times.
every day, double dialing, texting, following up with them, and so on, so that when we get 10
Live
leads, we
transfer to
actually
Zoom
close
calls,
five.
all of it.
Yeah.
All
We
of
should
it.
have a lead to close rate of like 30%, 50%. Not a
I think
call
that's
to close,
possible
but a lead
with
to
our,
close. Yeah.
yeah,
Good.
sick.
What's your goals for this next week?
Goals for the next week. I've actually written three closed deals. I think we can do a little bit more. I want to close. There's a couple of people that I really want to close that we already have in the pipeline. I'm gonna be following up with my daily call list like a maniac, getting those people through the door. We have like two amazing companies, like really, really good fits, but they haven't signed yet. And I just need to get them through the door before they just give me like, no, we can't do this. The one thing that I have to improve as well is, as I said in the beginning, following the same sales process with everyone. And since they're bigger companies, I typically start speaking with the owner or start speaking with someone on their team. Then I go to the marketing director. Then the marketing director goes back to the owner. The owner and the marketing director and a consultant speaks about it, and then they get a decision. I want to have that more process. Like that process should be: I go on a call and we close them, which sometimes it might not be possible with these big companies, but just collecting a small payment. Like, awesome. Is there anything else than you speaking to the owner again that would stop you from moving forward? No. What do you think he would say? No, he would say yes. I just need his approval. Got it. So what we could do is we could just process a very, very small amount of leads, and then if you guys decide for any reason, then we can just maybe refund that, or we don't mention that it's a refundable one. We just say, yeah, let's process one. So what we would do in this case is we would just process this many leads, and then you can go speak with him. We process the rest, and we set everything up. Yeah, I think I just gotta become a little bit more of a beast in the sales part again. I had that in me, but just because they're bigger companies, I've kind of flopped on that. So I'm not gonna get that back. I already have that back. That's already me. So goals: 3 clients, at least one of the big companies from follow-ups. I want to have the first client signed from B2B ads. Since I'm cash flow constrained, I'm not going to spend up to 1,500 a day. We're going to start smaller and ramp it up. The good thing with B2B ads, though, it never goes down. When you start B2B ads, it always goes up. You're not allowed to make the ad spend lower. And so that just means that it's going to get bigger and bigger. So I have no worries about that. One from B2B, one from the follow-ups, and then no, 2 from the follow-ups. 1 from B2B, 2 from the follow-ups that we already have, and then we're also working on a couple of things with the outreach stuff. I will assign someone from that as well. And I'm aiming for 3. 1, 1, 1.
So 3 clients?
3 clients. Yeah. Maintaining
Good.
50% profit margins on the ads.
Good. I'm excited to see how that goes with shower ads.
We'll see.
For our breakdown of how we're doing, we're highly profitable on our kitchens right now. We're at 60% profit margin,
Yeah.
and or 65 or something. On our bathrooms though, we're more like 20. So we really need to figure out bathrooms, which just comes down to making way more ads, which I feel
Yeah.
confident in us doing. So that's sick. For
Sick.
me, this week, I want to get the B2B ads live with 30 ads, spending $300 a day. It's scary because I'm not sure
Wait,
that ads are gonna work.
30 ads, 300 per ad?
Maybe. No, $30, $300 a day total. So
You can do
we
more than that. $300, bro. That's nothing.
we probably could, yeah. But here, I'm being a bit
No,
of
no,
a
no. Wait,
pussy
wait. You probably
myself.
could. You should do it.
I probably could, but I'm at the point where I want to figure out if the best use of my time is, or of my money, is spending it on the B2C clients that we sign because we're signing a really big one that has a big cap, or if it's
Yeah.
on the B2B ads. So I want to start
Mm.
300 a day, see if we have client finance acquisition. And if we do, I'm going to increase it by 15% every day, no stop, until we're at 1,000. If we don't have client finance acquisition, I'm gonna continue trying to tweak it until we can afford to scale. And then as soon as we can afford to scale, I'll scale it to 1,000 a day. But the
Can
plan
I
is, go ahead,
yeah, can I challenge you on that?
go ahead.
Do you think you would reach client finance acquisition faster if you had a higher daily spend?
I don't think I can't start with any more than 300 a day because then Facebook gets messed up. So that would be 300 a day plus increasing by 10% a day. You know, like
I think
Facebook
that's
allows you to do.
also a limiting belief right there. Imagine a big company, they probably start with like 10,000 a day.
I've never gotten success with that. I've tried that with my accounts with our big partners when we scale it, and they want to get leads right away on pay per appointment, and they would just mess up right away, and then we need to fully turn it off and rebuild it from 300. I've seen 300, like 250 is usually max, but I want to
Okay.
go balls to walls to 300 to start. But I agree with you that increasing by 15%, even if the leads aren't there in the beginning, is the way to go because
Okay.
then I'll just crack it faster. And also continuing to test B2B ads and not just making a bunch today and then not looking at it for 2 weeks, but actually
Yeah.
finding what the winners are and then making iterations on those is going to be crucial.
100%. Yeah, I get that. I mean, it's kind of a weird game for us. We have to figure out, do we increase the budget B2C or B2B? But I think when we have client finance acquisition, B2B is gonna be it's gonna be so good. And then we can just take 50% of the profits into B2C, 50% of the profits into B2B, and then we just keep scaling that machine.
Hell yeah. So
Boom.
get the B2B ads live, $300 a day minimum, preferably more, with 30 ads live. And secondly, I want to call leads for a minimum of 12 hours. I put that as a very bare minimum because of the fact that I know I'll have more sales calls. So I'm going to be more constrained on time. But that means I would be calling for 2 hours a day. And I think that's a bare minimum. Like goal is 18, but a minimum of 12 hours a day of calling. Plus me and Jim have a open office room with me, him, and our media team right now, so that they're going to be making ads live while we're calling leads, so that we can all get a bunch of shit done and really just call leads, no excuses, a bunch. And then lastly, it's achieve a 40% profit margin on pay per lead. I've been at 30% max, but I think now this week we're gonna crack showers and bathrooms, and as soon as we crack that, we're gonna be at 40%, no problem.
100%. 100%. Nice.
Hell yeah, man. Do
Boom.
you have any questions for me you want to touch on?
I do. I do have 2 questions.
Let me just go to the restroom. I'll pause the video. We'll be right back. We're back live. Jim actually had another learning lesson this week. Do you want to share it?
Yeah, drinking more water.
Why?
I listed out all of the, you told me to list out all of the importance of drinking water. I got
All the benefits by it.
Yeah, all the benefits. I got 132 benefits about drinking more water. And the most important ones are like increased focus, increased concentration, reduces brain fog, all of the things that you need to be focused and get things done. Water improves. So this right here, I'm slamming this 3 times a day. I don't know
Let's
about
fucking
that,
go. I'm drinking 3 liters a day of this and I'm dying from it, but it's so worth it. And I just feel better from it. Now, let's
good.
go with the questions.
Cool.
One thing I just wanted to say is that I thought about this and now I'm just talking to you, Jim, not to the video, but I'll keep the video playing as I say this. I really look forward to doing these videos every single day for the rest of the year. And I don't know if this is gonna happen, but I'm hoping that we continue this for the next 3 years. And we can make a video on the Sunday that I sold my company for $70 million. And Jim makes it the next week and he's like, yeah, I just acquired the company that acquired Edwin's company. And now I'm doing a roll up and I'm selling it all to Angie's List or whatever. And we're just able to have these conversations where now we're talking at the absolute beginning, where both of us have a lot of business experience, but we're starting effectively from zero. Like when we made our first video, the last 30 days from last week, we had made like 30K each, if not less than that on the pay per lead, right? So being able to go from there to 30 million to 300 million is really exciting. And I want to continue doing that. And imagine if we're still doing it when we have sold these companies and we're starting the next endeavors. And honestly, I could not care less if we got 0 views on this one. Last video I made actually got quite a few views. I think we got like 300. But even if it was 0, I wouldn't care. But the fact that I got comments of people having the fucking attention span, like if anybody's watching this, respect to you because we are so boring, bro. Like if anybody's watching this, they have the attention span of a fucking monk.
Wait, you know what they're doing? They're probably drinking a lot of water so they can focus through the entire thing.
But in all seriousness, like if anybody's watching this and getting value, I really appreciate you guys for it. And feel free to reach out to me and Jim. Like if you know us personally, let us know. Otherwise, just comment under this video that you enjoy this because that makes us even more excited.
It feels so good. It feels so good. I had a comment on my video like a while back that was like, oh, this was so valuable. I'm definitely gonna keep watching these. It's so good to read through. It is so good. So if you want to connect with us, send us a message, Instagram. If you have our WhatsApp, send us there. Comment on these videos. We read all of it.
Hell yeah. And it's just fun that people can actually get value on this. And I hope that some people can go through this and be like, okay, I've watched every single Sunday since fucking 2026. And now it's 2030 and they just sold the company. Right. So if nobody does, completely fine too. We could not care less. But if anybody is watching it, it's really fun for us. Anyways, 100%. James, challenge me. We're going to do it. Last time we didn't have time.
I'm going to do the curious one.
Sure, go ahead. But just so if anybody's wondering, we want to start doing this. We didn't have time last week because we ran over. But basically taking a question for the other person that is a genuinely curious question, something that maybe we're interested in how they're managing it so well, or something we've learned from them, or something we're just curious about. And then a challenging question, which is a question that almost puts them on the toe, like, hey, let me challenge you on this. Something you've maybe picked up over the week, because me and Jim spend a lot of time together. So they might be the one thing that we skip if we run out of time. But if we have time, we'll make sure we touch on these two. Go for yours, Jim.
Cool. My first curious question is, you're really, really good at hiring, which I've seen in the past. What's your number one tip that you can give someone looking to hire an A player? Not only just some random person, but if you want to bring someone on your team that is truly amazing, how would you go about that, and what kind of tips do you have for that?
Only one piece of
You
tips.
can you can say more. It's fine.
Sure.
Give us all
I'll
the
say the
tea.
number one biggest one is that most people think that they're hiring killer people because they don't know what good people look like because they hire the best people that they get applying for them. But the best people aren't even applying. Like if Alex Ramosi was like, I'm done with the business world and I want to get a job as a media buyer because he just found out that he loved marketing, would he apply for your job? He probably wouldn't. So you think that you're hiring the best talent, but you don't even know what the best talent is because they're never applying for your job because they're applying to go work with Ogilvy or $1 billion fucking company. So the
So how
first
do I
thing,
solve that? Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
sorry, Scott. Keep
no, you're
rambling.
good. The first thing before anything else, before you become a killer interviewer, before you know what to look for, is make a fucking job post that inspires. It's kind of like most people run ads and they're like, I think this ad will crush, but they don't think about does this attract who I want to attract? And write ads B2B, like when you want to sell customers, but also for your hiring that doesn't attract most people. Like you want your cost per application or your number of outreaches to get a response to be high. You don't want to have a high conversion rate. You want to have a high quality conversion rate, meaning the people that apply shouldn't be everybody looking at the role. You don't want to have 100% of the people applying. You want to have 1% apply. And you want that to be the 1% that's going to take your company to 10x. And I can link if you want. I can link one of my job posts below this video. It's some sauce, but I spend a lot of time writing mine. And the first lines, like the most recent one I wrote was head of ad creative job post. I'm gonna read out the first 5 lines here, okay? Who we are. Local Builder is the fastest growing marketing company on earth for home remodeling businesses. We have a 95% retention rate, the highest in the industry, because what we do actually freaking with a thing of freaking works. We got 5-star reviews, a world-class team behind the scenes, and a product that's rewriting the standard for what great marketing truly looks like. Every company that has signed on with our product since we started has continued buying leads from us and nobody has ever stopped. Who you are. You're not just another video editor. You're somebody who lives and breathes marketing. You see an ad and you immediately knows if it works and why it does, or if it doesn't work and why it doesn't. You genuinely get excited when you find a winning creative or make a video that you feel proud of. You want ownership over the entire ad making process and you don't want somebody telling you what to do. You're open to taking the feedback, but what you love the most is coming up with your own ideas and seeing them being executed. You care about psychology, storytelling, speed, perfection, and having higher standards, just like we do. This is enough for you if you like to take your time and don't stress things. You don't love taking feedback and having somebody give you advice. You need constant supervision, but this is for you if you hate average performance, want full control over your ads, understand why I create a work, not just that it does, but why it does. You love to test, track, and think and try until you find an angle that beats every other one. Here's what we expect from you. I'm not going to continue yapping, but that's not going to attract everybody. That's going to repel 75% of people, but 25% of people will be like, holy shit, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And that's the kind of person you want. So I think making the best job posts is so important. And nobody talks about it. What do you think about that, Jim?
Dude, that is so valuable right there. I don't think people understand this. The people on your team is it's everything. It's like we spoke about before. The only thing that matters is how satisfied your customers are and how satisfied your team are. Also the quality of your team. How
Yeah,
they work, what they work on, if they're A players. Dude, this is sauce right here. I'm writing this down.
I love that. Yeah. And think about next time you write a job post, think about if I wanted the best person I know in this, and if you don't know any good people, think about it. What's the world's biggest company? It's Apple. Do you think Apple's best marketing person would apply for your job? And then be like, what would they be attracted by? So that's the first part, right? Then the second part, and sorry for yapping, but I'm really enthusiastic about this because most people don't understand. You can put that, and if you put that on Indeed in the Philippines, good luck trying to find somebody who is an absolute star because you're making the right ad, but you're putting it in the wrong place. It's like running ads to Fortune 500 CEOs and putting it on TikTok. You have the right ad, you have the right call out, but you're putting it on a platform where they don't exist. So reach out to everybody you know, give crazy like bonuses on like a referral bonus of not $500, but do $5,000. If you can't afford to do $5,000, say I'm paying you 10% of their salary, and when they've earned 50,000, you'll get 5,000 of it. So you're giving 10%. And don't be afraid to, because somebody's gonna work harder for $5,000 of a referral bonus than $500, right? So give high referral bonuses. Ask everybody you know. Don't be afraid to ask. Look in the best places and hire recruiters. There are a bunch of recruiters. Some are really expensive, some are really cheap. Anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000, depending on how big of a role and what kind of company. Make sure you find ones that only charge after you've hired a person, because then you can hire however many you need. And then don't hire the first good one. Even if you find a perfect fit, this is something that I think you also need to take, Jim. I haven't seen you do this. Even if you find a perfect fit, be like, this is the best person I've ever found, but they're probably not the best in the world. Let me find three people that are, or say two people that are equally as good. And when I find two people that are equally as good, then I'll hire this one. And then what you're gonna find is, oh, this person was actually not equally as good. They were better. Let me hire this guy instead. And then you find a third, and you're like, this guy's even better of them all. And then you're like, wow, the first person I was just desperate about. Now I found 3 stars, and I can choose the one that is the most aligned with my company, that has the lowest pay expectancy, that has the most long-term vision with the company, that I feel that I resonate with the most. And then you have a bigger criteria to choose from. Just so you guys know, I looked at this data with my team. My average job position gets 600 applications, and that's also because we do a lot of low quality places, but we get 600 applications before we hire. That's 6 a day for 100 days, or 60 a day for 10 days. It's a lot of people.
Dude, this is so valuable right here. I'm gonna add one thing because I've heard you say this. You've also tried to hire, and you have hired people that have their own companies that are A players. And the question you always ask is, what would it take? What would it take for you to join us? And it's like you've almost hired some of the, or you have hired insanely valuable people, like people that the biggest companies in the world would have on their team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's also one thing I want to add. Don't set limitations on who you can hire. Ask them what would it take, and see if you can make it possible.
Hell yeah. And don't be afraid to give a part of the pie up. If you are gonna make an extra, like think about it, okay, I'm gonna hire a COO or an operations manager. I think this person is the difference between me being stuck at 100K a month and being able to scale to 1 million a month. My
How much
profit
is
margin
that
is
position worth?
30%. Yeah, that means, okay, this person is gonna make me an extra $3 million per year. Am I fine with paying 300K for just $3 million? If I pay 10% commission, yeah, I'm pretty fine with that. So don't pay them 3K a month, pay them 300K a year. And then just say, yeah, it's a 10% profit share. You have a 1K based 10% profit share. Until that, it caps at that rate. And then you can get true stars. Because 300K a year can attract the people that 30K a year could never.
Make sure, though, that they make based on what they're providing. So I did this mistake a lot. I overpaid people before we had the KPIs in place. So you just gotta ask them, what are your goals? How much do you want to make? And let's say they want to make 10K per month in your company. If you're making, I don't know, let's call it 200K per month, that is a pretty big part of the entire revenue to start off with. But you can just map it out. Hey, you'll make this. When we're at this point, you make this. When we're at this point, you make this. And so they want to grow within the company so they can go up to the level. And don't make the end destination 10K, make it 15K. And so they will produce way more results to be able to get to that point. But yeah, that's great. Cool. Do you want to do your... Yeah.
I have one more. I got this one from Hormozi last week. I've never heard it before. I wish I would have heard it before. It's so freaking good. Guys, this one is a banger. Hear this one out. 20% of your profit should go to your team. Okay, 20% of your profit should go to your team. But here's the interesting part. you say that basically 20% is going to the team. They get to choose how much they want to give up. So I know this is gonna sound crazy, but hear me out. Hormosis sold me hard on this. Say you get your first star, Jim. Let's say your first star is your marketing guy. Is he, when you're five people, is he gonna provide a fifth of the value of the company if he elevates your marketing and lets you 10x your company? He's probably gonna give you a
100%.
fifth of the value, so you give him
Yeah.
20%. But then you say, I don't want you to expect that you're gonna keep 20% of this. Realistically, you're only gonna keep like about 5% of this. But I'm giving you 20% at the beginning because we have no profit. But you're gonna get to give a share yourself every time we want to bring somebody in. So let's say now we've scaled from 100K a year in profit to 300K a year in profit, or a million a year in profit. It's time to hire an operations manager. Then he gets to choose with you how much we should pay that person because he has 20%. He gotta give up the 5% of his 20 and go to 15 for that to go to the operations manager. And then he needs to think, okay, this person is gonna make the company 25% bigger because it's taking away 25% more. So he's gonna be incentivized the same as you. He's not just gonna want you to hire more people because he knows that costs you money. He's gonna want that the same way as you because he's losing a part of his pie too. I
But the
think that's
pie
how it
gets
works. I
bigger.
might be wrong, but go ahead.
But the pie gets bigger. Is that the idea of it?
Exactly.
That
It's a
yeah.
smaller slice of a bigger pie. So he's gonna be like, okay, for us to hire, for me to make $1 million a year, I'm not gonna be able to just keep 20% because we're not gonna be able to get to 5 million a year in profit with just me. I'm gonna have to get 10 people that I share this pie with, but then we can actually scale to 50 million a year in profit. And then even though I only have 5%, I get a million a year, whatever.
That makes
I thought that
sense.
was pretty cool. What do you think?
Yeah. Sounds cool. I mean, I'm not gonna put anything like that in place yet, but hopefully in the
No, for
future.
sure
When we
not.
have the
Not until
directors,
you get a true star. Yeah.
yeah, when we have the directors in place, that's gonna be awesome.
Hell yeah. Now, do you want me to ask you a question?
I'm ready. Shoot.
I'll a- I'll ask you my curious question.
Okay.
You're very good at making stuff happen and moving fast. I never see you struggle with being uncomfortable. You seem to be very good at being uncomfortable. Or I just don't think you get very uncomfortable oftentimes. Like what most people find uncomfortable, you don't. How do you go about not working on the easy stuff, but working on the right stuff?
Oh, this is gonna be a pretty bad answer, but I think it's my upbringing. I don't think I chose it. I think it's my parents that helped me with this. I think you could train it, but I see you laughing. But I think it's true. I think when I was young, I've I've always been doing stuff. I was competing in breakdance when I was small, in front of like big stages, like in the Swedish national championship, multiple times. I was like on stage all the time. Then I also did like skateboarding. I was like a sponsored skateboarder, and I feel like I think it's my upbringing. I think my parents just brought me up in a way where they just never phrased anything as uncomfortable. Like if I was gonna go up on a stage when I was like 12 years old, my dad would have never told me like, "Oh, are you nervous? Like, are you like, do you want to do this?" He would never tell me that. He would be like, yeah, he would have high energy and be like, "Let's crush it." Like, are you excited? And I think that's the reason why. But I also think I also think, yeah, I think it's my upbringing. I think I have that kind of personality where I don't feel like I don't get embarrassed easily. I, of course, I can be embarrassed, but I just feel like I don't get that embarrassed. And I feel like I don't feel things as hard, I think, because I feel like I've done things that are harder. I always have that, oh, I will always do something that's harder in the future. So why do I think that this is hard? I think we've spoken about this, or maybe I've mentioned this in the past. But if you want to run a huge company, you're gonna have bigger problems then than what you have right now. If someone sues you, if this goes on, that will happen. And so if you have a dispute now of $10,000, you have to learn how to deal with that because you have to. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to handle the problems they have in the future. And that kind of goes into doing hard things. I just feel like I will always have harder things coming up, so I just need to do it. But part of it, I think, is my upbringing. If you want to train it, I just think you have to have that mindset and then just stop caring that much about what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you a follow-up on that. Let's say somebody
Mm.
didn't have that upbringing. Let's say somebody had the opposite. Like Daniela, for example, my girl, she had the opposite upbringing where she was always pet. Like, they petted her, they took care of her. If something was scary, they're like, "Oh, don't worry about it. You can do it tomorrow," and so on. And I'm not calling out her, obviously. I love her to death. But just overall, for somebody who did not have that upbringing, for somebody who had an upbringing where they've built or just overall, they've built a procrastination mindset and they're really afraid of doing the uncomfortable
Yeah.
stuff, even just the small stuff like going and approaching people or calling leads or brushing their teeth or doing a workout or whatever it is, something small. What would you tell that person if they need to build it from scratch and they're 20 or 25?
I think this is also going to be a bad answer depending on who this is, but I think some people can't. I think, I think
That's so
if
inspiring. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
seriously, I don't think everyone can because I think you have to have a pretty strong mind for it and not as a bad thing, but I don't think every person can because if everyone could, the world would look very different. I think someone that has awareness of I can say change my mind and like what happens in my life, they would be able to do it. There's a lot of people that are not even aware of that in the first place. They don't even think about it. If you're aware that there are people that have a different mindset and just does the scary things, then I actually got this from Cameron, England. There's a document where you break down your beliefs. Why do I believe this? What's the reason for it? Does this belief serve me? And you break down the entire belief. Like the biggest thing is why do I believe this? And then does other people have the opposing belief? Why would they have that belief? And from there you just decide to not believe in it. You can decide if you believe in certain things, and if you believe that you can't decide, then that's the kind of people that can transform it. But if you believe that you can change your beliefs, which sounds kind of wishy-washy, but it's so true, the thing that you have to do is you have to understand why do you believe it in the first place. Are there people that have the opposing mindset? And then kind of what we spoke about before in the laws of physics, can I believe something else and actually act on that? And then from there, you will just start stacking proof. You'll believe it and you'll do 10 hard calls that you don't want to do. After you've done those 10, you now have a proof, a certificate that you do hard things. When you have 100 certificates for or 1,000 of them from the past 2 years, you have that now. You can't get rid of it. And I think that's what happened with me. That every single time when I was young, even if I was like 7, or 6, or like 10 or 11, whatever I did, I just started stacking proof subconsciously. And then once you've been on a stage for like in front of 1,000 people doing breakdance when you're like 10, then when you have to call a couple of people over the phone, you already have so much proof that you've done harder things and that you do things like this. It just doesn't affect you. I don't even think about it. I think we spoke about this as well, that we used to be scared of cold calling. I called a couple of cold leads and someone rejected me. They were like, F you, kid, like never call me again. I didn't even like it didn't even affect me. And if that happened to me like 3 years ago, I would have been like, oh no, like this is horrible. I would have stopped calling. But yeah, does that kind of answer your question?
So what would be the next step for somebody who finds themselves being the opposite to you?
I would create a document. I would write down why do I believe what I believe? Is there other people that believe opposite? Why do they believe differently? Does this belief serve me? Can I change my belief? And if the answer is yes, then you just start stacking proof.
Let's
Can't
go,
hear me.
bro.
And I can't clap with my broken collarbone. I would have clapped. Thank
That's funny. Let's go. No,
you
good
very much.
stuff.
I appreciate
So,
you saying that as well. That's actually something I try to do. I just try to do um, things that are harder. So I really appreciate you seeing that. That makes me. That's another proof right here. I now have another certificate that I can look back on that, oh no, I do hard things because other people believe that I do
Yeah.
hard things. That's another
Hell yeah, man.
certificate. Boom.
Lastly, let's do the hard one. Ask me the challenging question.
Cool. Okay. You've mentioned this a couple of times. This is gonna be challenging. You've spoken a lot of times about you knowing that you have to get your old mindset back, that served you more, and that you know that it's right. Why haven't you already gotten that mindset back?
I appreciate you saying that. I was actually just thinking about that earlier when we were talking about thinking too small. I think, by the way, when you say that, just want to say, it disgusts me that you say that because when I think about me being better in the past than now, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not the kind of person who gets worse with time. I'm the kind of
Let
person that
me
gets
let me
better with
pause
time.
though. Let me pause though there. I do not think you're a worse person. You're definitely better. Like the
Yeah.
person
Some things have
there.
gotten better, some things have gotten worse. But
Exactly.
my ability to think big and act fast has definitely gotten worse.
Yeah.
I thought about it. And to answer your question, why have I not gotten my old mindset back? I think it's because I did not know how to. And
Mm.
I think I just cracked that while we were talking. I think based on what you were saying, why, like everything is based on conditions. There's conditions for success, there's conditions for failure. There, you can set up certain conditions in your life that will guarantee that in a year from now you're gonna take your life. Like
Yeah.
if you force yourself to be in a room all day, you make that room so warm so it feels like a sauna, and you can just watch like something horrendous all day, and you do that for a year, and you lock the door and you know you're never getting out, you're gonna kill yourself because you're gonna hate your life so much. On the other side, if you set enough conditions, it's guaranteed that you can be successful. If you lock yourself in a room and you only speak to people who are successful and you only surround yourself with success and all you do is you sleep well, you eat well, you think well, you drink a lot of water, you speak with like-minded people and you ask for advice, it's impossible for you not to get successful, right? So that rant is for me to say, I think I thought back early on this call. What were the conditions that made me think big and act fast? And I think it's one person, it's Elon Musk. I was very obsessed with Elon Musk for a period of my life, and that's the same period of my life where we scale up really big. I sacrificed a lot of my personal things that I don't want to sacrifice today, like my personal health, my relationships. I think I got a bigger ego, but I think I would love to get back to the mindset that I had back then without the bad parts. So like I don't want to sacrifice my health. I don't want to sacrifice my relationship. I don't want to sacrifice my um friendliness. But I would love to get the speed and the ability to think big back. So to answer your question, what I'm gonna do to actually get that back is I'm gonna put out the same conditions of success. I'm gonna re-listen to that podcast. I'm gonna reread a book. And if anybody is watching this, plus you, Jim, I'm talking to you, Jim, read the book. Please read the book, Elon Musk by Walter Isaacson. It's him following Elon Musk for 7 years and then writing down every single thing he learns about Elon Musk. Everything for from how he's like remarried himself 5 times to how he built SpaceX to how he almost went bankrupt. He was less than 24 hours from bankruptcy to how he thinks with first principles thinking. And it's amazing, amazing. I'm gonna reread that book. I'm gonna re-listen to every Elon Musk podcast I can find. I'm gonna rethink that exercise that we talked about before of the 10-year goal and how to do it in 1 year. And then I'm only gonna surround myself with people who are willing to think that way. So for example, like Jim, I'm gonna force you to think that way. And I'm gonna call myself out on it too many times if I say, oh, that takes longer than that. That isn't possible and so on. I'm gonna be like, what would it take for it to get done faster? What would it take to be possible? Why am I acting so slow? And I'm gonna challenge people like you to be asking those questions to me too and hold me accountable to that. Because I want to put the conditions in conditions back in place for that to be the case. Because that didn't just happen. That happened because that's the content I consume and that's the thoughts that were running through my head. That's a long answer, but what do you think about that? Is that a good or bad answer?
That's a good answer. It's a really good answer. Yeah. As long as you just do those things and you actually change your behavior after that. Yeah. And
Hell
we
yeah.
in the month that we're gonna have in Cyprus, that is
We're
gonna
going
be
to Cyprus on the 12th of February. So if anybody wants to
yeah.
stalk us, show up to the Cyprus airport. By then you'll see us. But yeah, so we're going to Cyprus for a month and then we're going straight back to Marbella right after, and then we're probably gonna be traveling for like 3 to 6 months, just out of a
Getting
suitcase.
shit done.
Yeah, that's when these
Nice.
videos will be in front of a beach with real microphones, just sitting talking to each other, shake our hand by the beginning of and end of every podcast. But yeah,
Go.
so I agree, man. I think that's the biggest thing that I've lost over the last year that I want to get back on. I think that will really change how the business operates.
Nice. I like
Sick.
that. Like that
Can I
answer.
ask you my challenging question?
Let's go.
Why do you think you struggle to delegate? And how can you solve it?
I think there's two reasons. I think I'm definitely better at this now, but I think it still spooks around a little bit. I think I had way too big of an ego. I think that's one thing. Just believing that if I do it, it will be better because of my ego. I think that's the biggest thing. That's the reason why I've had a hard time delegating because I just feel like I can do it better because of the ego. The second part is I think I've thought too much short term. If I have something that needs to get done, it would take me a longer time to train someone up on how to do that rather than me just doing it this one time. And instead of me thinking, okay, well, how many times will this need to be done? 1,000 times. Then me spending 2 hours finding someone or training up an existing team member on how to do it is worth it because we will do it so many times. But I've just thought way too short term of like, okay, it takes 2 hours for me to teach this person. It's going to take me 30 minutes to do this myself. I'm just going to save 1.5 hours right now and just do it myself. But that's not entirely true because over the next 2 years, we're going to probably do that same task 1,000 times. And so it's better for me to train someone up and spend 2 hours to buy back, what is that, 500 hours or so. No math, but yeah. The two biggest things is that I've thought too much short term and I've had too big of an ego. How I'm going to solve that is I'm just going to force myself to do it. I just need to have it in my mind at all times, every single day, writing it down on my to-do list to delegate. And I think when I'm conscious about it, it does get better. So I need to always think about it when we get things done. And I just think I have to accept that we're going to fail a lot with a new team member. Like when training up someone new, I just have to be fine with things not being done as good in the beginning. Spend more time training that person on how to be good so they can become better than me. I just think I need to accept that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. What do you think of that?
That's such a good answer. That was so good of an answer. I don't think I would have given that good of an answer. Two things you said, ego and thinking short term. I agree. I think when I look at it, it's always one of those two. I ask you, why don't you delegate this? And you're like, either, oh, they're not as good as me at it, or it's, oh, I'm faster at it. It takes more time than it gives me to delegate it, and so on. So I agree. I think that's the biggest step for you to go from where you're at currently to where you want to get to by the end of the year. I think from in a year from now, when you make your 2026 learnings and reflection video, and you sit down and you just spend 3 hours talking about everything you've learned,
Delegate.
I think that would be the number one thing you say. I think you will say, and the reason I can say that is because I feel like that's what I learned last year. That's the number one thing I learned last year, how to get great people and how to get them to do great stuff. And I feel like that's gonna be the number one thing for you. Like 2025, you learned how to get shit done, great stuff done. And this year, you're gonna learn how to get other people to get great stuff done for you. So I'm excited for that journey for you, bro. And I'm happy
Thank
to
you
help
very
you with that
much.
for
I
sure.
appreciate that, man. Yeah, you're definitely way better at me the delegating.
And you're better
Oh,
than me at getting stuff done because I've kind of lost
yeah,
some of that from
it's
not
pro and a
having done
con.
shit for a year. So
Yeah, so we'll help each other, and then we'll both have both of it.
hell
We'll
yeah,
have
that's what you need, right?
pro and cons.
I think this was super fun. I
Whew,
appreciate
this
the
is a
session.
long one.
An hour and a half. I, in the future, I don't know if you're up for this stream, but I'm just gonna let these riff for as long as they take and have no time constraint because if the value is still there, we'll end it
We
after an
just
hour and a
keep,
half.
yeah.
Yeah.
If the
And then
value is not there after 5 minutes, then we just end it
I
after
was just
5.
gonna say the value's there after 30 minutes, or we're like, okay, we've touched on everything, then that's fine. And that's probably gonna happen in the future when things are evening out. But now there's so much happening all day.
Yeah.
So 100%. If anybody watched this, once again, comment if
Thank
you have
you.
any thoughts on this. And yeah, 100%. Thank you for watching this. And comment if you appreciate this, if you want to connect with us directly, if you want to hop on one of these, if you've got some sort of success yourself, and if you want to hop on one of these calls in the
Jump
future,
on.
let us know. We'd love to have other people on. So
And
let's
last
make it
thing,
happen, bro.
if you're watching this and you're an A player and you want to join a group of like-minded people and absolutely dominate the market, then reach out to us. In the future, you probably already have that, but I'm gonna have a link to apply to various different positions.
Of course I do.
Yeah, of course you do.
By the way, advice for
Apply.
anybody here. I'll give you advice, Jim, and anybody else watching. Make a hiring page. This is one of those long-term things that you're like, oh, it's not worth doing, but it's definitely worth doing. Make a page where you make everybody on your team record a testimonial on their experience working with you, and make
Mm.
sure you do it right away because people will leave. And if you have 30 people work with you over a year, get one video and then you have 30 videos instead of 5. So everybody who's worked for you, get them, or who does work with you right now, get them to record a testimonial video, cut them all together, make it a beautiful page about your core values, about those testimonial videos, about each role, why you need each role, your goal with the company, and be very transparent.
Yeah, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna
What?
delegate that.
Let's
That
go,
is
bro.
that is going on a task board. Let's go. Cool. I appreciate
Sweet.
you, Edwin. This was a great chat.
Absolutely. See you guys next
On to the
Sunday.
next.
Goodbye.
Let's go.